All righty, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise to the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody out there and council members and staff. Councilmember Trinkle will be absent this evening. On old business, I have the regular meeting minutes of December 3rd, 2020 are attached. I need a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of December 3rd, 2020 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
Mr. Brungart,
Did Gene have his hand up?
Yes.
Dednica,
Yes.
Mr. Kirby,
Yes.
Major,
Yes.
Mr. Garvey,
Yes.
Mr. Bueller,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. New business, audience participation. Any letters or anything, Sarah? Okay, good. Presentations, items for council consideration. Resolution number B10, 2020, Kansas Pride Program support. The Kansas Pride Program's mission is to promote and enhance quality of life for citizens of Kansas communities through education, leadership, development, and recognition. This resolution pledges support for the Kansas Pride Program. Need a motion to approve and adopt resolution number B10, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Do they used to do the Pride Yard Award? Do they not do that anymore?
Sarah?
I think Sarah's going to answer that question.
So they do, the group that does that, they are aging a little bit, so they're not as active, but they have been doing the yard program. I think they started it back up about a year or two ago. They may
Okay.
have taken a break this year just with everything going on with COVID.
Right.
They do take care of that, and then it's also done through the K-State Research and Extension Office as well, so. the coordination as well.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. Sarah, anything else? Okay, Sarah?
Mr. Brungart,
Yes.
Mr. Stednica,
Yes.
Mr. Kirby,
Yes.
Mr. Major,
Yes.
Mr. Garvey,
Yes.
Mr. Bueller,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Item number 3, structure removal cost share application, 600 Beth Street. Been waiting for this one for a while. The application for cost share removal has been submitted. The low bid for structure removal came in at $7,000, making the city's portion $3,500 if approved. The applicant has requested bid for Frederick Excavating be approved, which would make the city's portion $3,960. Need a motion to approve the structure removal cost share application and bid from TWK Complete Construction for principal and accessories structure 600 Beth, and a motion to approve the structure removal cost share application and bid from Frederick Excavating for principal and ancillary structures at 600 Beth Street. Let's talk about it. Go ahead, Becky. On this right here, I see a motion to approve the structure. Is this is two different bids for two different things? Or is this? If I read it wrong?
So there's
I'm
multiple
sorry,
bid. Yeah, there's multiple bids, and then I think the person got a bid pretty recently.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I'll let Becky elaborate on it more.
So we had the low bid of 7,000 from TMK, and we had Brits Excavating bid. And yesterday, the applicant brought me one from Frederick, said he would prefer to use them because he's going to use them for the basements. It is that $460 more. I told him I didn't know how you all would feel about it, but we submitted it, and it's up to y'all for your decision, guidance on which way to go.
$400 above what would be normal. Is that correct?
Well, no, it's not 400, it's 460 more than our lowest bid.
Okay, gotcha.
So when
Go
we
ahead.
do this, do we pay the contractor or do we cut a check to the person and then they pay the contractor?
No, we pay the contractor. Once I get a receipt from the contractor that the individual has paid their portion, then we cut a check to finalize that once everything's done to the contractor himself.
Okay, thank you.
Jane? Jane?
Yeah, I mean, we have a low bid of 7,000, which, and now we're being asked to go with a higher bid. Is that,
Well, staff, to
What it
clarify,
sounds like.
staff asking.
yeah,
That's an easy question. I mean, easy answer is we follow our own guidance, which is we go with the low bid.
Mhm.
Or we can tell the guy, we'll pay our half of the low bid. You can use whoever he wants to, but he's paying the difference.
Right, and that was an option that I had told him that could happen, you know, if you guys decided that. You know, I didn't even know if I was gonna be able to get that bid in front of you or not when I spoke with him.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have no, I mean, I wouldn't have any issue with them choosing whoever, as long as the low bid is what we're paying.
Right,
Right, I agree.
Jane?
yeah, I agree. I don't want to start getting into, you only gave me so much, but then you gave this guy more than the low bid.
Right.
I don't want to get into that. I don't care who he picks.
Can we
That's-
do that? Legally, can we do that? Can we just go with the low bid and he contract out to somebody else for hire but we only pay half of the low bid? Can we legally do that?
I mean, the property owner would be the one paying the difference.
I
So
don't
at
see
that
why
point,
not, Mark.
Oh, okay. Okay.
From a legal process, yes, because you have a bid, you have a low bid, you're accepting the low bid. And as long as you're not paying any more than that, what the folks do on the other end of that really is out of the hands. You're doing what you're supposed to do under your policy.
Sorry, Greg, I didn't see you. Okay, thank you. Any other ones on this one?
Yeah, I would caution though. I would ask for another bid from Frederick that, you know, doesn't show the 400 on us. You know what I
Well,
mean?
what-
So
We're not going
He
to
could
approve
bid- he
Frederick's
could
bid, are we?
bid-
We're going to approve the TMK one, the 7,000 one.
well, if we do, then they would win the bid, not Frederick.
well, it's the property owner who's facilitating all of this. But
Right.
if you guys want, I mean, we could word it in a way where we make a motion to approve a contractor, whoever it is, not to exceed 3,500. You guys could make a
Yeah.
motion like that if that's helpful.
That's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I would do that. That's cleaner on our part.
Is
Yeah.
that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Can I get that motion? Tim, you want to say it again?
I move that we let the homeowner pick the contractor as long as we do not pay more than $3,500.
Second,
Motion and a second. Any more discussion on that? Okay.
Mr. Brevert,
yes.
Mr. Stednica,
Yes.
Mr. Trinkle, or I'm sorry, Mr. Kirby,
yes.
Mr. Major,
Yes.
Mr. Darby,
Yes.
Bueller,
Yes,
Mr. McNeil.
Yes.
Okay.
thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you, Becky. Item number 4 is Parks Master Plan discussion. Parks and Recreation Director Jason Crum will discuss next steps of Phase 1 of the Parks Master Plan with the governing body. Jay, it's all yours.
All right. All right, so then in the agenda item, we included the Phase 1 excerpt. I hope everybody had a chance to kind of revisit that, but just to hit the high points, the main two things that were going to happen were moving baseball and softball to Bernard, and when we vacate City Park, to be able to put a splash pad in there. Those are the major things. So back in February, we finished up and approved the master plan, and I felt like we had some pretty good momentum at the time, and then we kind of hit a wall with COVID. So I just wanted to make sure that we kept this in front of you and see what you want to do next. So there's a lot of different ways we could potentially go if we want to start to work on the design for Phase 1, if everybody's comfortable with that. A lot of times, since we did an RFP to select the Landworks to do the master plan, we may have considered moving forward with them to do the next phase of the design. That's one possibility. another possibility, and I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that Shannon Gordon, who has been our project manager basically since we started the master planning out there, is no longer with that firm, and he's with another firm now. So our project manager is no longer with that firm. So I guess that's another possibility, is we could see what we could do with that other firm if that was something the council was interested in. Or we could just put out a fresh new RFP and see what we could get. But anyway, I'd open the discussion with that. I'd answer any questions anybody has and just see if everybody's comfortable with us moving forward with that at this point in time or not.
Jesse?
Well, I don't want to sound all negative, but I don't like the idea of investing $1 million into a splash park at City Park. I think that park is off the beaten path too much, almost in an industrial area, right there by Airmark and all that other stuff. And I don't think a lot of people know about that park quite frequently, frankly. What about this? What would be the chances of us developing that piece of property into an industrial park and trying to sell off that property and use that money to invest into Ken Bernard Park?
Council members?
I don't know if that's a question for me or.
No, that's, he's asking.
I don't know. It was just an idea I thought about when I was reading this.
To kind of get back to your first point, when we were going through the planning process, it was important to staff, and I think there were a couple of maybe governing body members there, or people from the community that didn't want to put all of our eggs in that one basket. And I think it was important to some people to have something on the east side of town also. That's the background, I think, of why that splash pad is there in that location. But obviously, I mean, that's what we do is the council's call, but that was the background behind that.
That location, I think, is kind of odd because there's only, was there two ways in? It's American Avenue and the road next to Trent Peters' place right back there. Those are the only two roads that go back into that area, aren't they? Yeah.
That's correct.
So
I would say also, to add on to what Tim said, I think that was kind of part of the appeal of it, as, for instance, we looked at trying to revitalize all those parks that we would consider neighborhood parks. For example, City Park, Willow Park, those that are in the neighborhoods like that. And Willow Park, with the development, the housing developments and stuff that are around it, we didn't think that was, when we went through the master plan, didn't think that was as good of a fit because we didn't know how the neighbors would react to it. Where it's down there, that City Park is now, you're not in anybody's backyard or anything like that. And there's ample parking already there for it.
I'd like to have a park in my backyard. Can you do that? No, just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I think the discussion that Jason's talking about, a lot of it revolved around with a splash pad. You might have people playing at 8:30 p.m. on a summer evening, and
right,
somebody in one of the backyards of those houses was trying to sleep at 8:30 or 9 p.m. They could get frustrated. Or if there's, we'd probably have to light it up. Maybe somebody wouldn't want a parking lot light in their backyard. So those were some of the things that were considered when it was put at that location.
Those are valid points, definitely. That answers my question.
Don, did you have something?
No, I was just going to say we probably, my thought would be to move forward on this project and maybe go out, since our project manager has changed and some other stuff, maybe go out for a new set of RFPs and see what we pull up.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Anybody else on that? Tony?
Yeah, so I mean, what we're moving forward with is what? The design phase of phase one. Is that?
Unless you tell us tonight that you want to just go on and build it. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, my question was, where are we going to get the funding for phase one?
So I talked to Beth about this today, and with the money that we had out of the special tax fund that's earmarked for parks, I believe she told me between what money we have remaining this year and what money we would have next year, it was about $130,000, if I'm correct. And then in special parks and rec, we have some reserve that we could spend some of it without depleting the entire reserve and special parks and rec. So we talked about maybe around 100,000 there as well. So that would start us with about 230,000.
The other thing to keep in mind too with that special sales tax fund, if you guys all recall, we started that about a year before DeSoto Road even began. So we had quite a little bit built up before construction even commenced. So there is funds available in that fund, and then I mean this would be a 6, 7, 8 month process. So more funds would be built up as it goes along.
No, understand. So long term, right? I mean, in order to build it, we got to come up with close to 5 million, right? Is the intent to then bond it and then use the payments from that fund to pay the bond?
Yes, the intent would be to bond it. Yeah.
Okay, so bond the 5 million.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess my only add to this would be, have we considered taking a piece of phase 2 and moving it to 1? I was thinking maybe a splash pad out at Kenneth Bernard could be added to phase 1, so you had 2 different areas for, aquatics. But I don't know if that fits in. I mean, I know they kind of have it in pieces. But I don't know if we can move forward with adding that to phase 1 or not.
Well,
At Kenneth Bernard, I think it was.
are you
I
saying
was looking at it like $580,000.
you're talking about adding an additional splash pad? Is that what you're saying, Tony?
Right. Well, I don't think it's in phase 1 for Kenneth Bernard. Kenneth Bernard, I didn't see that as part of phase 1 for Kenneth Bernard.
Yeah,
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
So,
so it would be adding that piece, Jason, is what I was thinking.
Okay.
So then we'd have two places on both sides of town that people could go to if they wanted, but I don't know if we can afford that or what the limit was, Tim, on, how much we could bond and then.
So what? I'll start off and then Jason can kind of jump in a little bit, but I know the way Jason and I have talked about it, I mean, we would want to structure this bid package in a way where we would have 2, 3, 4 different alternates. So if we get a good bid at $4.4 million, we'd be able to tack on, $500,000 or $600,000 worth of alternates.
Okay.
That's the first part of your question. Secondly, if I recall, wasn't there issues with having a splash pad on septic, Jason?
Yeah, it's a little more challenging for sure without sewer. So I'm sorry, I got quiet there for a second. I don't recall that we had a splash pad planned for Bernard Park at all. I know we talked about it in the process, but I don't think it ever ended up in the plan.
No, it's in phase 2, Jason.
Okay.
But I mean, then the price jumps quite a bit, I think.
Okay.
So
yeah, I mean, I think we could explore a lot of different things. I mean, particularly if, say we were putting in that baseball and softball complex, I know, a lot of those have, I'll just call it I guess it probably ends up being more like a fountain or something like that. But instead of, say, a playground, you might have a small splash pad there that people that are playing baseball and softball could use, and then it could be used outside of that when there's not games going on.
Yeah, it was in that little area that's just to the west that had the little 4 different stations. There's a splash pad and then like
quadrants.
Yeah.
Okay.
In phase 2.
Gotcha.
The aquatics part was $580K if I'm reading the phase 2 part. But I think I like the idea of having, if the bid comes in low, we can add options. I'm just thinking that it would be nice to have something like that out there. It looks to be smaller.
Yeah,
that'd be fine too.
Make that one of the main alternates in the
Yeah.
bid package. We could talk to the whoever the consultant is, we can mention that to them.
Agreed. And I think one of the things they talk about there in phase 1 quite a bit is upgrades to soccer, but it really didn't make the cut when it came to the funding portion of it, if you guys read through that very much. But that'd be something else I think we ought to consider as well.
I agree. I totally agree. Let me ask you this. What age group are we talking about enjoy the splash pads? What age group are we targeting to entertain with $500,000+ splash pad?
The analysis said 2 to 12 in the book.
But Marcus, we'll let you
That's
do what you got. We don't have no problem with that.
It's basically the same as a playground, but I think you will, also get, I know once kids hit middle school, I know Carrie can probably speak to this better than I can. They might be a little bit embarrassed if the friends were watching them out there, but if they were there with their little brother or sister, they'd probably be pretty likely to run through it and start playing as long as none of their friends were watching.
Just kind of depends on the middle school kid. I could see 6th graders being out there. Probably not your 8th graders. They're too cool for school. So
If it's too hard, I can see some adults going through it, but that's just them. Hey, Gene, did you have something? Sorry, I didn't get to you.
Yeah, I just want to remember that we don't forget this side of town. All right. And where I think City Park and with whatever it is, I don't want to abandon the east side of the highway. That's all I have.
Any other questions? Tim, what would you like for us to do?
So I know Don's suggestion was to put it back out for RFPs. Are the rest of you guys generally okay with putting out an RFP and maybe having a committee with people review those?
Yeah.
Everybody good with that? Looks like it. Okay. So
My next question, I'm going to ask for volunteers to help us review the RFPs. If
Carrie,
anyone-
let's get Carrie on one of those things. He's got time. Carrie, you want to be on this? Got you. Got one.
I think Gene's.
Jean, Carrie, Jean.
Who's the third? Don't look down.
Well, we can get somebody
Yeah.
a little bit later.
Okay.
So,
Well, at least we got two now.
yeah. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
We appreciate it. We appreciate the guidance and the direction too. That's very helpful to staff when you guys let us know what you're thinking. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
All right.
Jason.
Department heads. Greg, you got any city attorney?
Health report, Mayor.
Thank you. Tim.
So I have a presentation for you guys about our CARES funds and what's been going on. You guys all see that?
I see nothing.
Yep. I see it.
All right, next slide, Matt. So the last time we'd spoken about what we've been doing with some of our CARES funds, it was early October. So I wanted to fill you guys in on what we've been up to since then. So far, we've distributed 10 small business grants for a total of $220,000. We had a committee with staff and a few council members on that. And then we distributed some checks to businesses in Lansing. So that was certainly a productive way to utilize some of those CARES dollars. We helped out Fire District 1 with a disinfecting machine. That was about $10,000. I know those guys are very active with responding to calls and the things that we've struggled with our police department too. You never know when you're responding to a call if someone is, has COVID or not. So it was important to be able to disinfect fire department vehicles and things like that. The electronic signage west of City Hall, that'll be coming up here hopefully in the very near future. Since we weren't able to get into KDOT right of way, it'll be a little bit further to the east, but I think it'll still be pretty well visible. However, I think we might have to take down one tree in order to install it where we want to install it, but it's kind of an older tree and maybe not the most healthy tree anyway.
We're still talking about the location by City Hall, right? 4H Main.
Correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Payroll expenses for public safety, that's been ongoing. We're making improvements to the council chambers like we talked about. So if you guys could see the room right now, we have all of our new chairs in here. So our new chairs, they have wheels on them, so they're easier to move around and social distance. They're also a different type of material, so they're easier to clean, and that's helpful to us. We're going to be making improvements to the video technology in this room, so it's going to be easier and a higher quality video for folks who are watching this on the internet or at home. We're making upgrades to all the meeting rooms throughout all of our buildings. So the City Hall break room, the mini conference room, Parks and Rec break room, the activity center classroom. So those are rooms that people rent. So people who are renting those rooms will have video capability and things like that. 730 First Terrace. And then we're doing some software upgrades with Parks and Rec, the agenda software, and registration for Parks and Rec. And I think we talked about this too. The goal with some of those things was rather than waiting in the Parks and Rec building on the day you're registering your kid for soccer, if you're able to do that online, you know, you're exposing less people if you have something. So that was the thought process behind that. We've made a lot of technology upgrades that should make it easier for staff and elected officials to work remotely. We've also done some auto flushers, auto sinks, and hands-free door openers in most of our buildings. And we talked about this too. Whenever we could, we tried to do things that will benefit us even after the pandemic is over. So, you know, you think about auto flushers and auto sinks, those types of things reduce water consumption, so people aren't leaving water on and things like that. The hands-free door openers, I mean, that's going to be coming in handy during flu season in 2 or 3 years too. So lots of good things there. And then door access control system. When you guys are back at City Hall, you'll see we do have a new way to access our doors with key fobs. So there's been a lot of really positive things happening over the last few months. And I want to let you guys know what we're spending our CARES money on. Next slide, Matt. So that's the electronic sign right there. To the right is our Kivac machine. We purchased 2 of those. And what that does, that's a way to clean restrooms. So the people cleaning the restrooms, they don't have to get down on their hands and knees, get behind the toilet or anything like that. You can use that yellow machine right there. It'll clean the restroom, and then all of the water would filter down toward the drain. So that's another thing that hopefully even after the pandemic, it will make it easier for us to clean restrooms and hopefully safer too. In the middle there, we purchased a lot of masks, disposable masks that we distributed to businesses. We still have a lot left. So if any of you guys know of a business that wants some, give us a holler. We're happy to donate free disposable masks to Lansing-based businesses. Next slide. So the next are just a few of our business assistant grant recipients. So that was Leavenworth County Humane Society, Finish Line, I believe, and then Sheer Greatness. So those are a few of the recipients. And kind of like I'd mentioned a few minutes ago, the disposable mask distribution has gone really well. We've distributed free masks to 24 Lansing businesses and 5 churches in Lansing. And we still have a lot of businesses, so feel free to spread the word. Let us know if anyone needs some free disposable masks. So, next slide. Reimbursement requests. So we've received our first 2 reimbursements from Leavenworth County. We submitted our 3rd and final disbursement request on Tuesday of this week. I know the county's received it. They've asked us a couple of follow-up questions, but we haven't received that 3rd check yet. So, but things are going well. Next slide. So we are anticipating reopening city buildings the first week of January. We're still going to require masks indoors at city buildings at that time. And then obviously our mask ordinance, it's currently set to expire on January 31st. So. Some of you guys might have seen this. I'm not sure if you all have, but I think this is a little bit of good news that came out the other day. So this is just showing the different stages of when the vaccine will be available to certain people within the population. So, you know, I think we're approaching the end of the finish line. So I think there's a lot of really positive things happening. So. And that's it. I just wanted to keep you guys posted on everything that's been going on with our CARES funds and how the city's reacting to the pandemic. Did any of you guys have any questions on those items?
Marcus?
Yeah, so you're still issuing out the funds to the businesses for that CARES fund program, Tim? Are you still doing that, or?
We are not. So we had 2 or 3 different deadlines, and I want to say the last deadline was about a month and a half ago. So yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Any other questions?
Any other questions, gentlemen? I think money's been well spent, and I'm sure proud to see what's going to some of these businesses. Jane, do you have something there? Okay. All righty, Tim.
There was another thing. So some of you guys might have noticed what was going on at the traffic signal on Ida Street. So as you guys might remember, we allocated funds to make some improvements to that traffic signal. So it's kind of a combination of maintenance and an upgrade to that traffic signal. It's the same type of traffic signal that's on Ridge Drive, so it's the same software, same setup. It's been installed, but it hasn't been programmed yet, so it's not operational quite yet. But I believe that's going to be coming down pretty soon. So we budgeted funds to do another traffic signal in 2021. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. We have a few different options for which intersection we'd want to upgrade, whether that's 4H. I think we also have issues sometimes with Fair Lane, Mary Street with stuff going on in Town Center. Perhaps Mary Street is one we'd want to look at. So, but anyways, pretty exciting. I know we've had a lot of complaints about the traffic signal on Ida Street, so it's good to get that upgraded.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that's it. That's all I have. So.
Thank you, Tim. Before we get started, I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We've definitely had some trying times, but I think the citizens, council, staff, and everybody, volunteers, have really done a good job trying to get through this COVID-19 stuff. So I'm glad to see that we're hopefully, it's going to take a while, but we're still heading there. But still keep using those masks. Well, we're eventually getting there. And with that, I would start with Carrie. I'm going to start with you, Guy.
Jason, thank you very much for your report. Tim, thanks for keeping us up to date. I know there's a vaccine coming. It's here, but it's going to take a while to get it distributed. So it's real important. We still wear our masks, social distance, wash our hands. Those are things that are very important. And I'd also like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Carrie. Don?
Yeah, just a couple things. First, I want to thank Tim for the update on handling the COVID money and that. I think him and the staff have done a great job with distribution of those funds and getting stuff for the city. That was a good job. Do have a question. Since we just voted tonight on one of the shanty buildings is finally going to get tore down in town, where are we at on Novak's old shed out back? I know Mr. Kirby and I have been working on that for a couple of years now. Is he applied to do anything like this, or what's our holdup with that?
Yeah.
Can anybody answer that? Is anybody there to answer me?
Yeah, I'm here. Mr. Novak's shed, is that the one behind the cash loan place there on 2nd Street?
Yes, sir.
So he's been working on getting that cleared out, and he intends to submit something to the council for help with demolishing it. That's the last that I had heard on it, though, was that he was working on clearing it out. I know the last time I went through there, it looked like he had been working on it, but I think there was still quite a bit of stuff in there. So
Okay, I'm talking about the structure itself. It looks pretty bad, and when you drive close to it, it looks pretty rickety. So hope nobody gets hurt.
we'll keep working on it.
All right, thank you, sir. The other thing, I have another question is I noticed up at the new club car wash this afternoon, Leavenworth Waddy Works was up there with 2 or 3 trucks working. is water being provided by Leavenworth for that operation or Landell?
I believe it's Leavenworth. I think that's in
Yeah.
Leavenworth's service territory.
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain. I'm about 90% certain that that's Leavenworth Water that's providing water services for them. We are.
To those up there too, is that the same for Quick Trip? Is they're getting their water from Leavenworth?
I believe so, yes. But we are
Okay.
taking the sewage from both of those.
Yeah, we're providing the sewer service, but
Right.
Leavenworth
Right.
Water.
So where does their wastewater go then?
That to us, the wastewater comes to us through the Eisenhower extension that we did when before Quick Trip, well, at the same time Quick Trip was being built, we extended the sewer line up to pick up Quick Trip and as well as Aldi. Just behind Tractor Supply there was where it crossed, and it picks up Aldi, Quick Trip, and the car wash, all three of them that sit on that corner.
So does Leavenworth provide us numbers to bill them for their wastewater?
I believe that's how that works, yes.
Okay.
It'd have to be, yeah, Jesse.
Yeah.
Good question.
And with that, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a very safe New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Jane?
Yeah, I just want to, I want to thank all the city staff, the council, and the citizens of Lansing. It's been a crazy, difficult year for a lot of us, for all of us. I know we want to get the kids back in school. In fact, I think that's the plan now, is to get them back in school. So we got to stay on top of this, folks. We got to stay vigilant and alert. And I know everybody's tired of it, but we can't slack off now. Feel like we're getting down the home stretch. So everybody hang in there and we'll get through this. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jane. Marcus?
Yeah, I'll just chime in there, Tim. Hey, great job on dispersing the CARES funds program and managing that, and great job to all the staff, even the mayor that we have. Great job there, Mayor. So Merry Christmas to everybody. This year, 2020, I echo Gene and Kirby and everybody. This year, 2020 has just not been fun at all with this whole COVID. But I tell you what, the job that our city staff has done, our city council, our mayor, our first responders and police, and everything that we have done dealing with COVID and how we've handled it has been marvelous. And I thank each and every one of you that I get to serve with. It's been great the way we've been taking care of it. So Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Marcus. Jesse?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Jason for the work he's doing on the park expansion. And I agree with Gene about not forgetting the east side of town. My comments about City Park were to its location, not because it's on the east side, because it seems like it's so far from Connie and Eisenhower neighborhoods to get to that. So I agree with him. We don't need to forget about the east side of town for the parks, that's for sure. I see that the building has gone next to Dairy Queen. So progress in town. That's an awesome thing to see. So it looks like we're moving forward with some construction. So I'd also like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Jesse. Greg?
Yeah, I have two questions. First is, Carrie, I think last year the school was taking food donations. Is anybody aware of somewhere around in the local area that's doing food donations for the local community?
The middle school still has the Lions Pantry.
Okay. And how do you drop stuff off there?
Well, since I'm not working at the middle school anymore and I'm retired, I believe if you call the middle school, they will give you directions on what you are to do. I know our numbers for the Lions Pantry grew dramatically during COVID.
Okay.
So,
all right. I was just
we're
curious
always in the need of food. So,
all right. I mean, I know the community comes together very well. So I was just wondering if we could put something out. Number two, hey, Tim, have you heard anything further about the petition to overturn our mask ordinance? I know that there were people going around trying to get signatures on it, but I haven't heard anything else about that.
Yeah, it's my understanding they're still going around town trying to get signatures. I'd spoken with one of the people about it, and we had a nice, pleasant conversation. But I know it sounds like they believe they need to get a certain number of signatures based on the 2019 City Council election, whereas it's my interpretation of that rule that the last municipal election was the 2020 mayoral election. So I'm of the belief that they need to get a lot more signatures than they believe they need to get. I'd spoken to the county about that. The county agrees with her. So I'm not really sure, beyond that, I guess, I'm not really sure where they're getting that interpretation from. But they are going around getting signatures. I want to say they believe their threshold is just under 600. And I guess I would interpret that rule to be they should be getting close to 1,700.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was just curious if you knew where it was.
Yeah.
Again, thank you to everybody, the staff. Jason, thanks for the presentation today. And I'll echo what everybody else has said. It's been a trying year, and the staff has done amazing things throughout the whole year. On this day, in 1903, the Wright brothers made the first controlled powered heavier than air flight in the Wright Flyer at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. And with that, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, be safe, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Greg. I'm going to miss those. Tony.
Now we're gonna have to bleep you there. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. No, I'll echo what everybody else said with the staff. And, I think the governing body, the staff, everybody's done, our part as best we could to take care of people and our businesses. So kudos to everybody on that. Thank Jason for the briefing. It's good to know that, we're still trying to go by our plans, which, even though we've been interrupted, I'd ask that whoever's on that park plan committee to take a hard look at what other options you could put either at City Park or Kenneth Bernard as, extras on there, just in case we do get a low bid. I think they're both important. And with that, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Brungart,
Yes.
Mr. Stepnica,
Yes.
Mr. Kirby,
Yes.
Major,
Yes.
Garvey,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas, everybody.